Hello, 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 hello. So, how is everyone tonight? I really hope you are having a fantastic evening. And if you're a Philadelphia fan, enjoying Victory Week. It's been a nice week after the impressive win over the Giants at the weekend. But first things first, I do want to say I apologize if my streams have been disappearing. You saw in my previous streams that I've been using the highlights from the game and having my commentary over it. I've seen other channels do that and assumed that my commentary would make it come under fair use. Apparently, it doesn't. I apologize to anyone listening. I didn't know that. I assumed, and I shouldn't assume. So, to all of the Covering Sports Network guys, I do apologize if it's caused any issues that way. And unfortunately, that means we won't have highlights anymore because I don't want to cause any more problems. But that'll be why my streams will be disappearing on YouTube. But apart from that, how is everyone tonight? I hope you're having a great night. And we'll crack right on into this week, shall we? So, first things first, before we get on to the game, we had a couple things. So, boom. Oh, no, I don't want that. Boom. There we go. There we go. I can also go up here. That's better. So, before the game happened, we did a roster move. We placed Jordan Mailata on injured reserve with that hamstring injury, which he suffered in the Browns game. As you can see, leaving the game, he was on crutches and had a cast in his leg, and he was moving very gingerly. Which sucks. I really do enjoy Joe Mailata. He was quietly having the best game of his career. And yeah, no, it really does suck because best year of his career, sorry. He was playing at an all-pro level, and it does suck that he's going to miss at least a minimum of 4 games. Now he's been put on IR. But yeah, it really does suck. We're going to need him. We're going to need him. Fred Johnson, obviously, going to fill in at left tackle. And not going to lie, Fred Johnson is not Jordan Mailata, so there'll be some struggles, especially with some very strong competition he's going up against this week. Well, a couple of weeks, actually. People are calling Jordan Mailata injury prone because he has obviously been injured for the last couple of years, which is true, technically, but they've all sort of been. This is the first time it's not been a freak injury, like the interception, torn the shoulder, and all that, and the high ankle sprain. But no, Jordan Mailata is a staple of this O-line. He's going to be with us a while. Obviously, we gave him the extension in the offseason, but it just sucks he's got injured this early in the season. But he should be back and hopefully come back with vengeance. And also, some more roster news before the game. We obviously activated Sidney Brown from the PUP list, filling the space that Mailata opened up, which is good. Sidney Brown obviously hasn't played since January. He tore his ACL. He is a physical and terrifying presence on the field, even though it's his only second year. He actively tries to be terrifying, and it adds a bit of physical toughness that we need in this defense. And he's a sure tackler, and I can't wait to see him get in the field. And also, we elevated Jack Driscoll for this game. Right, let's get on to this game. Eagles versus Giants. Woo-wee, this was a fun game. This is obviously most of the stories coming from this game is Saquon returning back to New York, and how is he going to do? How's the Giants going to react to him? And we really hope for a win. And I'm not going to lie, it was well deserved for the Giants. He openly said that when he got into the stadium, fans were pointing at him, then pointing to something that was on fire, and it was his jersey. So fans came to the stadium with his jersey, set it on fire in front of him, and he was a bit shocked. You have to admit, he wasn't expecting that, which is crazy because if you're the Giants, why are you angry at Saquon? Surely you want to be more annoyed at your ownership for giving such a good player, your faces your franchise away, because they have. Like, he's the reason why. The franchise is the reason he's not there, and you obviously this is one of the most public figures. Like, the whole situation is one of the most public things because of Hard Knocks. if we didn't have Hard Knocks, it would suck. Like the Patrick Queen situation. I don't think he's returned Baltimore, but that won't be as highly advertised as the Saquon versus going back to the Giants because of the Hard Knocks. Clearly, that the GM misread the situation, believed that Philly was out of signing Saquon, said that it's not worth even franchising tagging him because no one's going to trade for a 26-year-old running back who then wants the money on top. He fumbled the bag massively on this, and even ownership said he's going to have a hard time sleeping if Saquon goes to the Eagles, and Saquon went to the Eagles, and even though all week he said it's not personal, he's happy with the situation, you're going to see it was personal. It was very personal. So we move on to the inactives for this game. So Tanner McKee, obviously, is our third round. Eli Ricks, Darren Kincard thing, which makes sense. But obviously, then you've got Dallas Goedert, who's obviously suffering from another hamstring injury, which sucks. We knew he was going to be out for this game, potentially out of next game, but he hasn't gone on IR, just like Mailata, meaning that hopefully he should be back before the 4 weeks is up, where we don't know how long Mailata is going to be out for. But we'll get into it. So the Eagles win 28-3. Thank goodness they're not the Patriots who decided to come back in the Super Bowl. We win 28-3. Saquon went off. He tore them apart. And, I'll just break down the game quickly. So, I'll just go to full screen because there's nothing here. Here we go. Hello. Saquon went off, and I'll just do the breakdown of the game. So, for the first quarter, nothing happened. Just nothing happened at all in the first quarter. Punt, 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 punt. That's it. That really is it. Let's have a look. I want to see where the quarter ends. So, we punt, they punt. -9 yards for us, 6 yards to them. Punt, punt, punt. We got 22 yards at some point. Then we punt away. And then they get the ball back to start the second, essentially. End of quarter one, And then they go 21 yards. Then they punt the ball away. So nothing happens until our first possession in the second quarter, where we march 74 yards down the field and finally score a touchdown. This is when Saquon Barkley runs for that 55 yards. I think he was matched at hitting like 21 miles an hour during this run, but throughout the first quarter and a bit, he was still running hard. Everyone knew he was gonna go off. Everyone knew just the way he was running that he was going to break off a big one soon. And when he did, it was a 55-yard run. And whoo-wee, that was fun to watch. So after the 55-yard, he comes off the field. Obviously, let him breathe, recover from it. And I thought that when Kenny G comes in a bit, runs a bit more, 12 yards, 4 yards. And then it comes to second and goal. And my goodness, he runs up the middle and just carries. He just doesn't stop moving. The whole Giants, essentially O-line is there trying to stop him. D-line, is there trying to stop him. And then R-line back him up and push him over. Saquon's first touchdown in this game was fantastic and well-deserved. They get the ball back, and then I was like, ooh, are we going to see the same old Eagles, same old defense? Like, going to fail? No, we force a -8 yards, and force a punt. Our D-line woke up in this game exponentially and forced 8 sacks. 8 sacks! Absolutely fantastic. We get the ball back and go 6 plays, 58 yards. Kenny G goes for 11, 5. And we just casually move the ball down. 11 yards there, 2 yards. And then it comes. So this is the situation. It was 3rd and 3 at New York's 41-yard line. Incomplete pass to Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, unfortunately, did not have a good game. I think he had 1 catch for -2 yards somehow. But so it's 4th and 3. We only needed 3 yards. And this is where they do it multiple times. I think they did it in the Browns game. Jalen Hurts does a deep pass on the left side of the field to A.J. Brown, who catches it for a 41-yard touchdown. See, I know it works. I absolutely and can't complain that they got results. But if you need, it's always maybe this is the difference between what they like as a coach, an Eagles head coach, is the aggressiveness. I'd rather just go for the 3 yards and keep possession than going for the deep ball. But hey, I know it's technically a low percentage play, but with AJ Brown out there, it's not a low percentage play, is it? It really isn't. But let's just say when I saw that happen, I panicked. I panicked. And if you've seen the footage, Saquon panicked as well. But hey, we got a lovely 41-yard touchdown for AJ Brown. They get the ball back. 4 minutes, 27 seconds left, and they go -3 yards and punt. Daniel Jones was awful. Just absolutely awful in this game. We get the ball back, and we're hoping to march down the field again. Unfortunately, they actually stop us. We go for -9 yards and force a punt. They get the ball back, and then with a minute, I believe it's like a minute 41 seconds left. And then they start moving. And I was getting the Browns sort of like panicking me. I was like, oh gosh, they're going to move. They're going to score a touchdown. And we're going to go into half 14-7, sort of removing that. Even though we have a touchdown, 1 possession lead, it sort of removes a safety blanket from us. And they do. They move very well. Short left pass, T-Trace. He runs up. Daniel Jones runs up the middle. A short pass again. Daniel Jones scrambles again. It was Daniel Jones's legs mainly that does it. Fortunately, they get a penalty, 5 yards penalty. But then it is a short pass again. They spike the ball to going up to our 16. They spike the ball, stop the clock, and Darius Slay gets injured on this play, which sucks. He's been dealing with a knee injury most of the week, but we knew he was going to play. And in this game, you could sort of tell he's been suffering from it, but he came back and he had a good game. He really has a good game. You can sort of see the slight regression in Darius Slay. Obviously, he's had some bad weeks this year, but I still think I wouldn't say he's the best corner anymore. I'd say he's the second best corner. I think Quinion Mitchell has overtaken that, and potentially even Cooper DeJean might be overtaking it. Cooper DeJean is a fantastic player. Yeah, this is it. So it was 3rd and 4 on our 10 yards with 13 seconds left. Daniel Jones has a shotgun pass to the middle to Ty Johnson for a 10-yard touchdown. Fortunately, that was nullified on the left tackle for offensive pass interference. My goodness, I was sweating. I was complete panic. So they come out to try it again on the 3rd and 14. We call a timeout with 9 seconds left. And for some reason, they decide not to go for the points, go for the main points to make it a 1 possession lead. They just kick a field goal, making it 14-3 going into half, and we get the ball out of half. Unfortunately, we come out, go 4 yards and punt. That's not good. Fortunately, on the other hand, our defense stiffens, and they go 7 yards and punt as well. So to start the 3rd quarter, 2 3 and outs, which sucks. We get the ball back, and then we do march down the field again. 10 plays, 77 yards. AJ Brown, 15 yards. Saquon Barkley runs fantastically. Like, he was running so hard. Here you go. No huddle shotgun. Saquon Barkley, right guard to New York Giants. 13 for a 30-yard gain. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Saquon Barkley at the middle. So they do sort of stop for a bit, but we manage to, I believe this is a tush push, yeah? Yeah, we get all the way down to the 1 yard line with a couple of penalties, and we put tush push into the end zone, making it 21-3. Okay, feeling a bit confident. Awesome, we got a lead, but we've seen these leads being blown. We've seen going into the 4th quarter with a 10-point lead, and that going, just disappearing. Fortunately, our defense stiffens even more. 21 yards, 8 plays and a punt. Good. We get the ball back, 10 plays, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Fantastic. Saquon, again, just constantly. We just pounded the ball constantly. I think in the first half, Jalen Hurts passed the ball for 10, attempted 10 passes. In the second half, he attempted 4 passes. This was going to be a ground pound game. We knew it. Everyone knew it because of the Saquon Barkley situation. And we get all the way down to the first, and I believe it's another tush push in for a touchdown. So we go up 28-3. They get the ball back, and for 3 plays, they go -1 yards and punt again. And this is the situation where Nick Sirianni takes the starters out. So the starters were removed from the game with 10 minutes, 32 seconds left in the game. So Kenny Pickett comes in and nothing happens. It's all punts. They even take their starters out and start Drew Lock to see what he's got. So for the rest of the game, it's just an exchange of kicking. Bray McMahon obviously got worked out in this game. But yeah, it was -1, 2 yards, 14 yards, 7 yards, 0 yards, -15 yards, 2 yards. So for the rest of the fourth quarter, it was just punts. But the Eagles managed to walk out of the Meadowlands with not a lot of injuries. We did suffer 2. Obviously, Darius Slay with the knee injury did come back, but he's still suffering it. And Mekhi Becton did go down with a concussion, which sucks, meaning our O-line was down yet again to Fred Johnson on the left tackle, and Tyler Steen comes in for the right guard. And they held up pretty well. Jalen Hurts did get sacked 5 times in this, I believe. Fred Johnson did suffer with Brian Burns, which is completely understandable. Brian Burns is absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look. So they had 5 sacks in this game. The Birds had 8 sacks and a strip fumble, which is lovely to see. Our defense really woke up in this game. But yes, there we go. So we walk out 28-3. Saquon having a monster day. He didn't break his career record. We'll get that to him in a second. So here is some of the stats. So like I said, we only attempted the pass 14 times in this game. 10 in the first, 4 in the second by Jalen Hurts. 114 yards, not majorly impressive, and a pass to obviously AJ Brown. Daniel Jones even worse, 14-21, 99 yards. Like, come on, man. Saquon Barkley, 17 carries, 176 yards, and 1 touchdown. My goodness, that's good. They got 23 yards in the crowd. Our defense was on fire. And AJ Brown, he did break 100 yards, but he'll take 89 yards. He did joke that he wanted the ball to be passed a couple more targets to him just to satisfy him. But hey, come on, AJ, you got a great win. You can't have everything. And he was joking about that. And Malik Neighbors, he was shut down. 4 receptions, 41 yards. He was completely shut down. And it wasn't the Quinn on Mitchell, Q, I'll just call him Q, was lined up against him pretty well. But we even at one point had BG lined up against him. This is during one of those man blitz when Nakobe Dean got in and sacked him. And Neighbors wasn't looked at. Daniel Jones could not get Neighbors the ball. Well, he did 4 times, but that's it. We locked him down pretty well. Here is some of the points breakdown. Can I disappear? Oh, no. There we go. Okay, here you go. So we had 339 yards of offense. They had 119. We had 20 first downs. They had 10. And our possession was absolutely immense. We dominated this game. And another good thing is we had 0 turnovers. Absolutely no turnovers. Jalen Hurts protected the ball for the 2nd week in a row, which is great. Sorry, need to refresh. Lovely. This is everything you want to see after the Browns win. All the good in the game just being compounded and getting significantly better. And obviously, you've got the question, is this the Giants and the Browns? Is that why we've sort of shown up? We'll see next week. We're against the Bengals, a significantly better opponent. We'll keep on with this game for a second. So, yeah, here's the full sack breakdown. So, like we said, an 8.1 yard average for Jalen Hurts. He did get sacked 4 times for 36 yards, where Kenny Pickett got sacked 1 yard. Kenny Pickett, I do feel sorry for you. You were full on backups, backup offensive line, backup wide receivers. No one, obviously. Shipley got his first couple carries. So that was all from the fourth quarter. Saquon Barkley, 17, 176, average of 4.1, which is crazy, and a longest of 55 yards. Gainwell managed to come in and do well. 13 carries, 56 yards. And Jalen Hurts ran a bit for 22 yards. Not bad, not bad. Hurts running. Shipley got his first couple carries as well. So in total, we ran the ball for 269 yards. Mwah. And obviously 3 touchdowns. Beautiful. That's what we want. That's what we want. Here's some of the wide receiver stats. Again, we didn't really share the ball around to anyone. Devontae Smith had that one catch for -2 yards. He has, unfortunately, had 2 very quiet weeks. But I imagine he'll wake up. He's all reliable. This was the Saquon game. Even A.J. Brown, like I said, had less than 100 yards. This was all going to be Saquon. No fumbles, no interceptions, which is fantastic. That's what we want for this Eagles team. No problems at all. Just protect the ball, and this is great. Even Nick Sirianni had a great game. No problems, no clowning. Absolute what a head coach should be, and even has a great moment later in the game with Saquon, which unfortunately I can't share the video, but I'll talk about it a bit later. And if you want to see this video, go to Eagles Twitter. They tweeted it out, or X'd it out. I don't know. But here is our defense. Our defense showed up. We were locking down their wide receivers easily with Quinton Mitchell and oh no. Oh, I don't know. Oh no, you don't want to do that. I don't know. Quinton Mitchell and Cooper DeJean were fantastic. Cooper DeJean's really brought an element to this defense that we needed. But pretty much nearly every Georgia Bulldog Dean had 2 sacks and a fantastic tackle. Jalen Carter had 2 sacks and was just a menace up the pressure. Bryce Huff had his first official sack with no issues and was causing all sorts of problems. Nolan Smith had a sack and has shown excellent progressions. So Rogers came in, Kilo Ringo came in. Everyone was doing fantastic. Just on our defensive line, there was a potential touchdown interception, but it was on a free play when Jalen Carter jumped, meaning it didn't count. And Q almost had another interception as well. He keeps dropping the interceptions, which must be so frustrating for him. But he, to the point where, going back to these sacks, even J.L.X. Hunt had his first ever sack, professional sack. And that's great. Jalen Hunt is a lot better than before. And you can tell this team likes each other, because when he got that, the whole defense erupted. Everyone just loves it. And and that's good. Everyone was so down on this team after the Tampa loss, and it caused so much drama. They like each other. This team has come together. They are doing well, even with some of the problems. And hopefully this is the turning of the corner. Well, last week was turning of the corner, and our defense has come together. And even Vic said they've improved exponentially, and he loves Cooper DeJean. He loved Nolan Smith this game. Yes, this is what we wanted. A couple more defensive stats. Jack Stoll, I don't know why he was on defense. C.D. Brown came in for a couple, and so did Vontae Maddox. Gardner Johnson actually had a quite game, Gardner Johnson, but that's fine. It was all our defensive line was just causing Daniel Jones problems. Here's some more situation breakdowns. So obviously we had double the first downs, only 10 more plays of them. Our yards were doubled easily. Total drives were the same, which is crazy, and it just shows the difference. Just some more passing taps. Sacks lost. So here you go. So they lost 8 sacks for 62 yards. No interceptions to our own yards per attempt. We had 3.5. Again, we only passed it 14 times and had 10 completions. 1.2. Daniel Jones couldn't get the ball out, and it was noticeable. It was awful. Their rushing attempts and rushing per yard. So ours was 6 or 45 attempts. Theirs was 18, 4.2, which ain't too bad, but 76 yards for them, 269 total. And of course, Saquon Barkley is the player of the week for the Eagles with 1 touchdown, 160 yards, 10.4 yards per carry, which is fantastic. And this is also a funny stat. The Giants had a total of 103 yards. After you take the sack yardage out, which say you do, you take away how much you lost as sacks. They had a grand total of 103 yards. Saquon had 187. Like, Giants, you screwed up paying Daniel Jones and not Saquon. What a disaster. What an absolute disaster letting this man go, and especially to a rival. Oh, my goodness. But here we go. The defensive line had 8 sacks and allowed 3 points the entire game. This is the second game in a row that our defense has not allowed a touchdown. Yes, I know it's against the Giants, and last week was against the Browns. Is it the fact they played 2 very bad offenses, or is it the fact they've finally made progress? I think it's sort of in the middle. I think they are finally getting used to Vic's system, and I think Vic is finally working out how to use them properly, and is calling a better game with the players he knows. Huff is finally going down to he's using. Last year he used a 4-pin stance. Essentially, had both hands on the ground and using that to drive power. First couple games he wasn't doing that, and you could tell he didn't have the power. He ended up a lot more on the ground. Since the bye week, they've allowed him to go back to that stance, and he's signed. This is the best game he's had as an Eagle. Even Josh Sweat, he's had 3 sacks. He had a sack in 3 different games. He's quietly turned it all around. This defense has finally meshed and done well. Nakobe Dean, he's had his ups, he's had his downs, and I think that's what he's going to be out for most of the year. You just hope that there's been more ups, more downs. And this game, he showed they know he can really run down the field very well. It's just the coverage he sucks at. And this game, they didn't ask him to cover much. They just needed him to stop Daniel Jones. And here you go, Bryce Huff. 5 pressures on 18 pass rushes today. It's the first game with multiple pressures in the season. Thank you, Dave Zangaro and Next Gen Stats. A great game for Huff, going from those 4-pin stance. Quinyon Mitchell had a great game. This is against the New York Giants and Malik Neighbors. He was targeted 4 times. The wide receivers he was covering was targeted 4 times. They managed to catch the ball 2 times for 15 yards. That's it. What a lockdown corner there. Fantastic. I don't think I have Cooper Jadine's personalized breakdown here, which sucks. I should have. My apologies. He was rated as the best defensive player on the Eagles defense completely. The defensive player on their defense this week, which is great. He has brought just a fantastic presence defense, and it's not even in the defense, it's also in special teams. I forgot to mention, he had a 22-yard punt return, and it wasn't an easy punt return. It was he had to fight like there's no tomorrow to get those yards, and it looked spectacular. Now, the problem is, do you want your starting slot corner to be returning punts? Obviously, now we have to. We've Bretton Covey out. But when Bretton Covey returns, I believe he should take over that position again, and you just have Cooper DeJean on the defense because you don't want to risk any injury or anything like that. So a couple more. It was a blowout game, a fantastic game for Hurts. Defense had 0 offensive turns, second week in a row, 8 sacks, 187 yards. Fantastic. Just a simple breakdown of what I've been trying to say. We're also 4-2, and a Saquon cap away from being 5-1. I also wanted to mention, because I thought about this after I put this all together, Ben Van Sumeren. So in the offseason, Ben Van Sumeren had a tight end sort of play where he was on offense and he had to got round and he got so close to succeeding. And then throughout this year, they've brought him as a fullback on the offense, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. He's a linebacker, undrafted linebacker. And on that Saquon 55-yard run, he was a fullback blocker, and he did well. He blocked a defensive player that freed Saquon Barkley out. He seems to be a very good fullback, and he has managed to keep pace with Saquon as he ran down the field. He was ecstatic for Saquon to get that yard. And hey, Ben Van Zumeren, he's getting on the field, shows they love him, shows how athletic he is, and he's doing very well. I don't think you can see this, unfortunately. I think it might be too small. But obviously, sorry, hydrated eye. Obviously, even after a win, people are still calling for Nick's job, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And Elliot Shot Parks here. The reason why I wanted to say this is he has a fantastic breakdown of Nick Sirianni's just coaching career. He's the first in rushing touchdowns, first in fourth down offense, tied first in defensive sacks. He just breaks down all of Nick's sort of positives. Obviously, there are negatives. You've got the whole attitude situation there. But he isn't going to get fired, especially if the team keeps playing the way they play, as hard as they're playing. And if we make it to the playoffs, if it's barely make the playoffs, get blowout, maybe, absolutely maybe. But if we make the playoffs, and go down fighting, he ain't gonna get fired. Howie loves him. I think Jeff Lurie likes him. The team likes him. Yeah, the team really does like him. They keep defending Nick. And this game, I think, shows why the team likes them. With his interactions with Saquon on the sideline, which I should get to in a second. He did behave himself, no clowning around or anything like that. And so so Saquon has been officially named NFL's NFC Offensive Player of the Week with his performance. No duh. Of course he's going to get off this award with that performance. And it is well deserved. I think in his 6 years with the Giants, he got this award 3 times. And this year alone, he's got it twice already. Everything stat-wise of Saquon is up ridiculously when he has joined the Eagles. And it just shows having the support and everything around what this caliber of player can do. People are already calling he might be more recognized as an Eagle at the end of his career than as a Giants. And he's only played, 6 games? Absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. Here it is. So, again, this is the clip. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend going out and finding it. It's on Philadelphia YouTube, Philadelphia Twitter. I assume their Facebook also posted it. After this, go and watch it. It's great. So it was just as the fourth quarter had started, Giants had the ball, like I said. Saquon was sitting on the bench by himself. Nick Sirianni walks over to the bench and just goes, "You are 13 yards away from breaking your all-time record." And he was like, "I'm going to pull the starters if they don't score, but if you want to get it, we'll keep going. I want you to get this. It is up to you if you want to break your record." And without a second hesitation, Saquon goes, No. Let the young boys eat. Let the young boys eat. He just is insisting, let the young players get their touches, get the experience, and that is fantastic. He is a great team player. He is everything you want as an NFL player and a face of your franchise. And again, thank you very Giants for screwing up. Man, I love Saquon. But that's going to be everything for the Giants game. I look forward to meeting them again. I think the next time we meet the Giants later in the year, I don't see Daniel Jones playing, being their starting QB anymore, especially since Saquon has the same amount of touchdowns in MetLife since Daniel Jones penned his new contract. And Saquon has 1 touchdown. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But, we look to the future. And the Eagles versus the Bengals. It is being played at 5 p.m. for me. My clocks go back, and the States, for some reason, does not. Different times of daylight savings. Weird. Just absolutely weird. This is going to be a hard game. This is going to be a deciding game. Even though the Bengals are 3-4, 2-1 away, 0-3 at home. This is going to be a hard game. This isn't Darren Jones. This isn't Deshaun Watson. Joe Burrow is a fantastic QB. They've got fantastic wide receivers. Their O-line, not the best, but a lot better than what we've experienced. And their defense is also very good. Joe Burrow is going to get the ball out. He's going to get the ball out quick. Our D-line's not going to have the time to get to him. Their running backs are fantastic. So can our defense deal with that offense? And on the other side, can our offense deal with their defense? Their run defense is a bit shaky, so maybe another Saquon game. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I don't have confidence in this game. Currently, which is absolutely crazy. Sorry, hydrated. Currently, the Eagles are favored 55 to 43. Absolutely crazy. I would not expect that at all. I would think that the Bengals would be the favorite here, but then again, they have struggled this year. They've had a very slow start to the season, but I just don't have confidence. I really don't have confidence. I think the Bengals are going to win this game, and it hurts me to say that after having such a dominant win. But this team, if we beat the Bengals, I wouldn't say we could beat anyone, but it just gives me that extra boost that if the playoffs started, we could at least make it to the divisional round. If that makes sense. Some injury news. So obviously, Mekhi Becton is out. Taylor Steen is taking reps to the right guard. So the current right guard O-line today is Fred Johnson, Landon Dixon, Cam. Great game. He had a couple of issues with Dexter Lawrence, but he's shut him down. Cam is having a fantastic, very quiet, fantastic year, especially after taking over Kelsey. Steen and Lane Johnson. And this is, I think, is going to be the O-line for the Bengals game, which sucks. They have got a good D line. They really do. So this is the official Eagles report. So Zach Bourne's shoulder did not practice. He had this sort of last week, so something to keep an eye out. Kai Bector, obviously, with the concussion. He did meet the team after the win with sunglasses on, so it wasn't like he can't walk or was throwing up constantly, which is positive. Maybe he gets through. I doubt it. And obviously, Dalek got it, and Byron Young with those hamstrings. Again, I don't expect them to play this week. I reckon they'll be back potentially the week after. And then obviously, Saquon rest, BG Rex, Elo Rex groin. That's no, but he's still limited. Slay rest, Josh Sweat rest. Saquon Barkley, you deserve the rest. And obviously, we've got Albert O, Adman, and Anais Smith, ankle, full participant. Those are people who are still on the PUP list who've obviously had the 21-day window to potentially return. I did think Anais Smith was going to come back with some movements you'll see in a second, but apparently not. So we've had a couple of roster moves. We released Paris Campbell from the active roster and defense about JT Woods from the practice squad. Our practice squad moves are constantly changing, but Paris Campbell being released, I assume, was Anais Smith coming back. Thank you, Paris Campbell. You caught a touchdown for us in the Tampa Bay game after the broken down play. Fantastic. Thank you very much for being on this team. Unfortunately, even if he does return to the practice squad, he won't be elevated at all anymore. He's had his 3 elevations, meaning he has to be signed to the active roster if we need him to play again. But I think the Eagles like him enough as like O's backup, sort of, if crap hits the fan. At least we've got Paris Campbell on our practice squad because obviously we did lose 2 of the top 2 wide receivers. And this sort of was, this was not 2 hours ago now, but 4 hours ago. Today, obviously, we signed Jack Distel to the active roster, filling up the Paris Campbell slot, which I was shocked about. I honestly thought that was going to be for Anais Smith, and added Paris Campbell and defense tackle. That name. Sorry, I'm not going to try and attempt that. To the practice squad, so we are keeping Campbell around just in case. But Jack Driscoll has returned. I'm quite shocked. I honestly thought Anais Smith was going to come back on the roster. Hey ho, that might change any second. That might change tomorrow. It might change now. I'm on the mission to see. I'm going to quickly check. X to see if it has happened. No. Oh. Giants are saying they're not anticipating to make any moves at GM or as head coach, which I call BS. Absolute BS. Something's got to give on that team. And it's definitely not that. Right. So that's those. And then obviously we've got some news here. The Eagles and Jaguars game has been flexed out from prime time to a 4:05 start. So that's 9:05 for me, which is crazy. So we've lost another prime time game, meaning we only have 2 prime time games for the rest of the year. Our Eagles weren't good this year. The Eagles weren't good, and Jaguars certainly aren't good. So it'll be interesting to see how this team plays out. But fine, just let's the Eagles just have a quiet, good year, and just hopefully gets better. And I'll end up with this image, and I think it sums up this game perfectly. Saquon Barkley smiling at the New York Giants. Obviously, Graves. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Giants, for an utter screw up. And Saquon Barkley just being Saquon Barkley. Great teammate and a fantastic running back. Brilliant. So that is going to be this episode of Tuesdays with TJ. I hope you liked it. And I haven't taken up too much of your time. If you're a Philadelphia fan, obviously the 76ers are currently playing the Milwaukee Bucks. And I believe the first quarter was the score was 23-22 at the first quarter. I don't know the current score now because obviously I'm doing this. But I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to call it here. And if you're on Twitter, which I think most of you are, pop into YouTube and subscribe to Coming In Sports Network. We do a bunch of creators coming here and stream, and it's Club for hopefully also this one doesn't get taken down. I have not showed any footage from the NFL. I have just spoken. So hopefully this is fine. And I've got my little PowerPoint here. But yes, thank you very much for watching. Have a fantastic night and stay safe in this crazy world. And I will see you next week.